You know that feeling when you check your bank account and instead of instantly closing the app in panic, you just pause for a second and feel okay? Not excited, not rich, just calm. Like when you stop calculating whether you can afford a simple coffee or whether buying groceries means surviving on instant noodles for the rest of the week. That quiet sense of control doesn't come from being wealthy. It comes from crossing a very specific number, and it's not what most people think. Most financial advice will tell you that you need $1 million to feel secure, or that hitting 6 figures is the magic moment. But what they miss is that there's a much smaller milestone that completely transforms how you think about money. And once you reach it, everything changes. That number is $20,000. At first, that might not sound impressive. In fact, it might even feel small compared to what you've heard before. But the truth is, this is where the real shift begins. Not just in your bank account, but in your mindset. Most people believe wealth is about earning more, but it's actually about the stage your brain is operating in. When you don't have savings, your mind is stuck in survival mode. Every decision feels heavy. Every expense feels dangerous. You take whatever job you can get, even if it drains you, because you don't have the luxury to be picky. You stay in situations you hate because leaving feels too risky. You say yes to things you don't even want to do, simply because you need the money. And the worst part is, when your brain is stuck in survival mode, it literally cannot think about growth. It's like trying to plan your future while your house is on fire. Your entire focus is just on getting through the moment. But then something subtle, yet powerful happens when you cross that $20,000 mark. It doesn't feel dramatic. There's no big celebration. But your thinking begins to change. Instead of constantly asking yourself, how do I survive until the next paycheck? You start asking, how can I grow this? You stop reacting to problems and start planning ahead. You move from fear to strategy. It's like pushing a heavy boulder uphill. In the beginning, it feels impossible. You're putting in effort, but barely moving forward. You're tired, frustrated, and questioning whether it's even worth it. But once you reach the top, something changes. The boulder starts moving on its own, and suddenly gravity is working with you instead of against you. That's exactly what $20,000 represents. Before it, everything feels like a struggle. After it, things begin to flow. And this shift isn't just in your head, there's real math behind it. When you're working with small amounts, your returns feel insignificant. A 10% return on $2,000 is only $200. It's nice, but it doesn't change your life. But a 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. Now your money is actually doing something meaningful. Now it feels like progress. If you're saving $1,000 a month, reaching your first $20,000 takes time, discipline, and consistency. It's not easy, and that's why most people never get there. But once you do, something interesting happens. Your next $20,000 comes faster, and the one after that even faster. That's compound interest quietly starting to work in your favor. At the beginning, you're doing all the work, but over time, your money begins to share that load, and eventually, it starts doing more than you. But here's the part that matters the most, and almost nobody talks about it. The biggest change isn't the money, it's who you become in the process. To save $20,000, you had to build discipline. You had to say no to things you wanted. You had to delay gratification. You had to stay consistent when it was uncomfortable. And through that process, you proved something to yourself. You proved that you can control your money instead of letting it control you. That identity shift is everything. Because from that point forward, every financial decision you make comes from confidence instead of fear. Before, even small purchases might have felt stressful. A simple coffee could trigger mental calculations. But after building that foundation, those small decisions don't carry the same weight anymore. Not because you're suddenly rich, but because you know your priorities are in order. And then something even more powerful begins to happen. You stop seeing only problems and start seeing opportunities. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, every unexpected expense feels like a disaster. A car repair, a broken laptop, a rent increase, each one feels like it could derail your entire life. But when you have $20,000 saved, those same situations become manageable. They're inconvenient, yes, but not overwhelming. More importantly, you start noticing opportunities that were always there, but you couldn't act on before. A friend mentions starting a business, you can actually consider investing. A good deal appears, you can evaluate it instead of ignoring it. A career opportunity comes up, you can ask whether it's worth the risk instead of immediately saying no. This is what people mean when they say money creates opportunities. It's not luck or some hidden secret. It's simply having the ability to act when the moment appears. This shift also changes how you think about spending. When you're struggling financially, you tend to obsess over small expenses, coffee, groceries, tiny daily decisions. But once you have a solid financial base, you realize those small choices don't matter nearly as much as you thought. What truly matters are the big decisions: where you live, how much you earn, and what you invest in. Those are the choices that actually shape your future. And once you understand that, you stop wasting energy on minor details and start focusing on what truly moves the needle. Then comes one of the biggest changes of all: your relationship with work. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're stuck. You can't take risks. You can't negotiate. You can't walk away. But with $20,000 saved, everything changes. You gain what can only be described as walking away power. You're no longer desperate. You have options. You can leave a bad situation. You can take your time. You can make better decisions. And interestingly, you often don't even need to use that power. Just knowing it's there changes how you show up. You become more confident, more assertive, more willing to take risks, and people notice. Opportunities improve. Outcomes improve. Income improves. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. But this is also where many people make a critical mistake. They reach $20,000, feel accomplished, and then spend it. A new car, a vacation, a lifestyle upgrade, and just like that, they reset everything. That money was never meant to be spent. It was meant to be your foundation. Because the moment it disappears, you fall back into survival mode, back into stress, back into reacting instead of growing. The people who truly succeed are the ones who protect that foundation. They let it grow. They let it compound. They treat it as the beginning, not the reward. And once you truly understand this, your perspective changes completely. You stop chasing the image of being rich and start building real financial security. You stop making emotional decisions and start making intentional ones. You begin to see money not as something to spend, but as something to build with. The truth is, $20,000 won't make you rich overnight. But it will change how you think, how you act, and how you make decisions. And that is what actually builds wealth over time. So instead of focusing on millions or chasing complicated strategies, focus on building that first foundation. Because once you cross that line, everything starts to get easier. And your future self, the one who has peace of mind, options, and control, will thank you for starting today.